Okay, so yes, I'm Stefania, and together with two colleagues, Laura and Maria Carmela, we coordinate this project. I work in APRE, which is the Italian agency for the promotion of European research. It is a non-profit association formed of more than 160 members, which are all actors of the research and which are part of the research and innovation framework here in Italy. So what is CATALISI? CATALISI is a European Union funded project. In particular, it is funded under the Horizon Europe project. And the main aim of this project is to help and support higher education institutions to successfully implement a strategy and an individual pathway for institutional transformation in research and innovation through the adoption of acceleration services. The consortium has 11 partners. In particular, the consortium is split between 4 facilitators, which are APRE, Ernst & Young, F6S, and ENOL, and 7 implementers, which are all higher education institutions set based around Europe, and which are the main actors that are implementing these institutional changes. Here you can see the 7 acceleration services that CATALISI project is developing. Acceleration services in this project are designed to facilitate and catalyze the process of institutional transformation of higher education institutions in the field of research and innovation, and are characterized by an innovative future that crosses the 3 domains the project is focused on. Among the 7 acceleration services today, we will focus on this one, which is about reinforcing the human capital through capacity building and outreach. This acceleration services is formed of 3 main activities, which are the Learning Hub, the Twinning Schemes, and the MML events. Today, this series of webinars is a part of our Learning Hub that you can access on our website, and where you can find all the recording of the webinars held so far, and all the materials used during the webinars that are publicly available. The main goal of this service is to provide higher education institutions part of this project with the skill set and to connect the different higher education institutions around Europe and other societal actors to share knowledge, best practices, and expertise that can help universities to advance in their action plan and in their transformational pathway towards the institutional transformation they want to achieve. Here you can see a screenshot of our website, where you can find all the webinars held so far. This is the 6th webinar, and it is about the lifelong learning. The other webinars that we already held were about gender inclusion, mainstreaming of open science and digitization of research, recognition of qualifications and research careers, reinforcing the role of universities in local innovation ecosystem, and digitalization of higher education institutions. This is from my side. One last thing, in our website, if you click on get in touch, you can subscribe our newsletter, and also if you want, you can subscribe to become a member of our community of practices, which is this pool, this service. It is also an acceleration services which put together different experts around Europe about open and responsible research and innovation topics. This is all from my side. Thank you for your attention, and now I will give the floor to Benedetta to continue with the webinar of today. Thank you.
Okay, thanks a lot for invitation in this very interesting project and in this webinar that address very interesting topic. And I'm going to present the topic Beyond the Classroom, a journey of lifelong learning, representing the International Business College in Treviso, where I'm teaching, and also Diagnostic and Therapeutic Center WeCare, where we provide psychological and speech and language pathology services. Okay, I'm not going to present myself now because I will do later more, and I will start with a presentation. I will focus more during this presentation in the career development and transversal skills, two very important topics that will cover the what we wanted to address today, and to stress out how much important is the lifelong learning in nowadays in this time of very dynamic development and innovation. What we refer with when we talk about the lifelong learning is a form of self-initiated education that is focused on personal development. And if we refer to a self-initiated education that is focused on personal development, it means that we have to be updated with everything that is new, in a way to be actual and to serve what is important to the society and community where we work with. And when we talk about a career, is a profession or occupation that one choose and for which one is prepared by education, training, and experience. This means that when we are talking about the career, it's not that for the career we are prepared just by education, but it's it's very important trainings and experience which enable us to be a good in career and in profession and in occupation, and to serve to the community in the best way. When we are talking about a career reflects the lifelong learning, which is the continuous building of skills and knowledge through the life of an individual for personal and professional benefits. Idea of all this is to understand that it's not something that it's finishing with the end of the studies, with the end of the formal education, but a career and lifelong learning, which goes together. It's something that is continues, which helps to build skills, which we can use them for our career. While we know what we talk until now, then we need to reflect to ourselves and to put all pieces together in a way to look if everything it fits and for our future and for our career. And we need to ask ourselves who I am, what I want, what are the realities in the career, what are the career requirements, and experience and everything else. So if we address this question to while we build a career, then we can see that we need to have a continuous training and continuous development in a way to build a career that serves to the community and fits everything that it comes like a puzzle and complete ourselves in a way to implement our roles that we can have in the career. Um, Now I'm going to present a little bit more myself. Who am I? I'm actually academic staff. I'm professor assistant at IBCM and University of Pristina. And I'm researcher and I'm a clinical psychologist. My background is clinical and health psychology. And besides the academic part and research, I'm also providing psychological services. And immediately when I reflect on this, then it comes, did my studies prepared me for what I am today? And for sure, no. It was just the basic information and knowledge that I got, and then yeah, I wasn't prepared as, and I'm talking for myself, but this is just to generalize what happens a lot of times. And has a lot of reasons. And this, what we wanted to become is that we need to understand that, okay, we have to do a lot of trainings, a lot of internships, a lot of volunteer works, a lot of specialization, and a lot of self-studying. Because everything is progressing in a dynamic way, and then we need to be accurate in what we are doing. So if we wanted to become something, we need first, we need to know what I wanted to be, and then to know what are the career requirements, and then we need to use this academic preparation that we have in formal education, but this is not enough. This is not enough. We need to have the first-hand experience. We need to have these internships. We need to do a volunteer works, and then we need to um, follow this continuous education, this lifelong learning in a way to gain the skills that helps us to become what we are, what we wanted to become and what actually we are. So this is the way that we need to understand that what the institution, the formal education maybe offer sometimes, and most of the times it's not enough. And we need to understand that the development of the professions are very dynamic, and then we need to be updated, upgraded, and then to become a good professionals in what we do in the future. So actually, what we are becoming, it's very much connected. What how much we are engaged in different way of getting the information, getting the knowledge, skills, and then to become what we wanted to do. So actually, we need to understand that the what we do is very important. That will predict what we are going to become in the future. Actually, is it enough what we did until now to to be a good professional in what we are doing, actually, it's not enough because always it's becoming something new. Actually, innovation it's something that also in this project and in all projects it's very important. But well, if we do not follow and we do not have this continuous development with trainings and with transformative learning, then it's we will not be updated and we will not be on time with what is coming. So for this reason, even if we are in the good stage with a preparation, with the knowledge and skills and competencies, what we are doing, it's enough enough. It's not enough. We have to follow the new innovation, and then we have to take part in the different trainings and development trainings that help us to be updated with what is happening. So actually, I'm just VR glasses here, but that we can use in different settings in therapy, teaching, and a lot of places. So I just wanted to mention that how important is to understand that even if we think that now we are in a good position and we become what we become, then it's not enough again. So we have to continue learn and to be part of the development of the profession and science. Then after this importance that we give to the career development and the um, lifelong learning and short trainings that helps us to be updated everything that it comes new and innovative. What helps us um, to adapt to the new era of the science, then it's also the transversal skills, which refers to a personal skills that go beyond technical knowledge and are based on adaptation to changing environments. What do we mean by transversal skills? This is just one graph that maybe we can see that more in details to what we are referring when we are talking about transversal skills. It's very important to understand that having this as a strong point of us, then it will help us also um, uh, to be a successful and effective in what we do. I'm saying what we do because what we do is it's not that we do for all life. I mentioned for myself that I'm doing the same time teaching and also providing services and research. So at the same time, we do different things, and then it's very important having this transversal skills and competencies in a way to enable us to be good and to be successful in what we do and how we use these transversal skills in different settings where we are working. So actually, we can see that okay, it's entrepreneurial and financial, general knowledge, health related, civics, cultural, environmental, so competencies, and also self management, physical, manual thinking, social and communication, and then core skills, number and measures, digital devices and application, languages. So working with all of this, which then help us to improve this cognitive skills, practical and physical skills, social and emotional skills, metacognitive skills, which demonstrate willingness to learn, which is uh, key in the process of lifelong learning, that willingness to learn and to update and upgrade with what is innovative and what is new and what is important to the society and to the community where we work with. So um, it's very important when we have this transversal skills and these general global competencies, which will serve for us in the life and in the profession. And when we know that during the life we can do a different jobs, like it's some predictions that a person can do uh, 10 to 15 different jobs in their working lives. And this means that having so many different jobs during the life, then it is very difficult uh, switching and transferring all this without having this transversal skills. And when we know that if we try to reflect, then there are a lot of jobs that existed before some years do not exist today, and some jobs that are actually will not exist in the future. So idea and what will happen with for the person which didn't that are not prepared with this global competencies or transversal skills and competencies. This means that this is a very important and having this and promoting this and building this to the community, to the students and next professionals in a way to be ready to use all these skills and competencies in different settings that they are and work and in the different jobs they do. So, and when if we read on specifically all of this, then we can see that okay, this are important in every job, demonstrating willing to learn, collaboration in teams and networks, leading others, supporting others, communication, following ethical code and conduct, and so on and so forth. So idea is that when we combine both transversal skills, this and life and career development, then we understand that uh, if we stick to the that everything what is learned in the class in the formal education, it's not enough. So for this reason, we need to go beyond the classroom and to be in the field, to go to the internships, to go to volunteer work, to be part of everyday changes in the field where we wanted to contribute and to be developed. And this way we will be ready also for the changes and also for the innovation that came into the profession and into the um, career of the people that wanted to implement. So it's so we need to understand that besides going to the beyond the classroom, the development is a journey, and we need to understand that we can be um, uh, effective in the for the community just if we understand that this is a journey, this is a process, and we should be part of it and to be in the step with the dynamic of the development of the field and the innovation that comes with. Okay. Mhm. Okay, here it is. There one short video just to...
Can you see my screen? Yes. Can you see all? Can you hear it?
The future of
Yes.
work is changing.
Great.
Artificial intelligence, robotics, machine learning, 3D printing, biotechnology, chatbots, virtual reality, deep learning, drones, augmented reality, smart objects will all be deeply rooted in our everyday lives. So, can we prepare our kids to compete with machines? Jack Ma says that only by changing education can our children compete with machines.
Education is a big challenge now. If we do not change the way we teach, 30 years later we'll be in trouble. Because the way we teach, the thing we teach our kids are the things in the past 200 years is knowledge-based. And we cannot teach our kids to compete with machine who is smarter.
Do you want your children to get a great job? Simple, let them play more. The jobs of the future will need creativity, emotional intelligence, and problem solving. Playtime can teach children all of these skills, and will give them the tools to survive workplace automation. For example, to be a superhero is to lead. To host a teddy bear's picnic is to organize. And to build a fort is to innovate. Is your child ready for the future? To know more, visit rentoys.in/future.
Okay, thanks a lot.
You're welcome.
Thanks a lot for helping me in this. Okay, if we just wanted to, can you see the screen? Yeah.
Yes, we do.
Okay, if we just reflect on the video, it's that we just getting back to this, and what is, if we wanted to compare what is the most important or more important, I think that we all agree that general competency, global competencies, these transversal skills and competencies are very important to create that base for the people, and then they to be ready for whatever it comes, whatever it innovative. But then let's jump there and to work with them and use for the community, and not just have focus into the knowledge and formal education, which makes not enable people to have these transversal skills, this emotional intelligence, organizing, and what all the things that we mentioned through this graph. So all we need to take in consideration how much important is this transforming the way of teaching and learning in a way to make a competent people for the life and for the profession, and not just focusing to the narrowed knowledge for the specific field. And what are the next steps? From the next steps, or what are the recommendations to promote the development of a lifelong learning strategy at the institutional level as a framework for transformation of education, create enabling conditions to establish partnerships throughout formal education, institutions, industry at different levels, design national frameworks and measures to promote innovative teaching and learning process that instill a sense of autonomy and self-motivation in learners. So this is a very important point for me. Facilitate link between formal education and the labor market by supporting institutions in advancing their career guidance services, and provide training opportunities for teachers and facilitators to improve the quality of teaching and learning. So this is what was prepared from my side for this topic. If there is any question now or later, we're free to give. Thanks a lot for invitation and for giving me an opportunity to talk for this topic that I think that it's really important in this moment that we are. Thanks a lot.
And hi everyone, I'm pleased to be in this webinar with you and sharing some other perspectives in regard to the lifelong learning. I will try to share my screen. Can see my screen, right?
Yes, we do.
Okay, following up on the Professor Florim's presentation in regard to the lifelong learning, I will try to bring a perspective, more global perspective on lifelong learning from different frameworks actually. But before going there, maybe a little presentation about myself. I am a work and organizational or industrial psychologist. And I've been working in higher education institutions for more than a decade now. At present, I am a vice rector for academic and quality issues at the IBCM College and professor of psychology and behavioral sciences. And we have been working for many years in curriculum development and revision, both in formal and informal education. I also used to work for our Ministry of Education, Science and Technology for several years. I was responsible for international collaboration programs, and particularly EU frameworks, but also other international programs. I've been a national coordinator for Horizon 2020 for several years. Actually, I am a program committee covering Maria Curie Skłodowska as well as a European Research Council areas for our country. And I am also an external accreditation expert for our National Qualifications Authority, where I am engaged in several external quality
Vision intelligence, robotics, machine learning, 3D printing.
Actually, I do accreditation and validation of vet institutions and their programs now for 8 years almost. And with the IRETS Institute, I'm affiliated now in 7 years and also a co-founder together with Professor Gallopeni, and we do a lot of assessments, evaluations, and trainings in the social protection area, including also education. I've been also engaged into the development of national qualifications framework for Kosovo, as well as validation with and referencing it to the European qualifications framework. I hope that my diverse experience will try to reflect also in this topic. Actually, having in mind that all of us have our own experiences with lifelong learning programs and training in our institutions, I think that this webinar will more provide a forum of discussion and sharing our own practices and reflecting to the opportunities and challenges that we are having through a long time with provision of lifelong learning programs on different levels. So the idea here is to discuss with the aim of the Catalyst project and the presentation of actually the present of participants from higher education institutions mainly, is to see how lifelong learning actually is promoted and implemented in higher education. What are some of the frameworks globally and European level which are promoted and encouraging and orienting actual higher education institutions to promote more lifelong learning? What could be the main issues that lifelong learning skills and certificates are recognized for different levels. What could be some of the ways that higher education institutions could be engaged in terms of promoting more lifelong learning, like, for example, different programs which are called top-up programs in different EQF and ISCAT levels, which are more common between the 5 and 6 levels, as well as now recently the introduction of micro-credentials as type of tools and means that higher education institutions can use to promote lifelong learning. In fact, when we see the different global perspectives about why actually and what is the role of higher education in promotion of lifelong learning, and what could be the strategic actions that higher education institutions should adopt in the longer term in order to deal with lifelong learning provision. It is because, as Professor Florim mentioned, that the technological development is massively undergoing in a very rapid way, and normal education, formal education is barely challenging to follow all these trends and providing the necessary skills with the regular and longer term study services. But sometimes and very often now we need to have a very short certification program and training program in order to be able to deliver new skills and competences and knowledge onto a specific technological area which different actors and stakeholders might need. And this is one of the highest actually pointing out need that we have to follow technology implementation and development, but also backing up with the relevant skills that the labor force might need in order to proper find themselves in the labor market. Then it is because of the labor market is changing rapidly with all of the economic and social developments. So besides that we provide present formal education, we have to top up with additional training and skills to the different audiences in order to meet the labor market demands for the skill supply. Actually, in many studies, the skill demands is much higher than skill supply, where the education training institutions are barely having a lot of challenge to meet these labor market demands. Then lifelong learning, it is also seen as a good way to promote personal and professional growth. Actually, we have and we are undergoing very often different trainings in order to back up our skill gap with new knowledge and skills in order that our job is meeting the demands of and the requirements of organization. And this is something which lifelong learning should aim to be designed for different groups and categories that they need in order to top up their skills. Then lifelong learning has been seen also as an instrument for ensuring inclusivity and equity in education. And particularly, we have different marginalized groups and needs actually in our society where they have challenges and they have less opportunities from their on-the-job learning, but also to attend different trainings in order to upgrade their skills. So in this regard, we should have an approach as higher education institutions also how to target with lifelong learning programs the different groups which are less represented in various levels. Then, as Professor Florim mentioned also that lifelong learning has a very huge role in promotion, innovation, and research. And there is a huge, actually, discussion ongoing in terms of applied research in higher education and how research and innovation development can be pushed forward across the provision of lifelong learning in order to meet the industrial needs and needs of the people who receive the services in lifelong learning training. And of course, higher education institutions in the longer run, they also should see lifelong learning as creating a culture to provide different types of education and training opportunities and to have a civic engagement. Actually, we try to see to foster the implementation and development of third and fourth mission of universities in order to be closer to the labor market, closer to industry, closer to the societal development and contribution. In fact, a 2023 global survey conducted by UNESCO with around 400 universities globally, they tried to see that how and what could be the main drivers and factors that push higher education institutions to engage in lifelong learning programs and provision. And as we see, the fourth university mission takes more attention, like community engagement and social responsibility. So universities are feeling that they have a kind of role of provision and supporting the community development and social development. But we see that with many international and national legislation and directives, universities are pushed to have lifelong learning as a part of their mission. So mission statement and mission implementation has pushed universities to deal more with lifelong learning. Then it's the third mission, actually, which is business and industry relation and collaboration. And this type of collaboration has pushed universities also to provide capacity building trainings in a variety of length and diversity of the programs in order to provide new skills and competences to industrial actors. Then it is a national and governmental push that universities have in order to provide also lifelong learning training beyond the formal education. So it's governmental policies which are directed to push higher education institutions in this regard. But of course, lifelong learning provision has been also seen by universities as a type of income generation opportunities. So by applying different tuition fees from the participants engaging in different lifelong learning programs, universities could generate some incomes in order to finance their strategy and development. And of course, there are other factors which has been marked as less important than the ones that I already discussed. But we see that universities more and more are engaging for several purposes in lifelong learning programs. And here are more, I would say that there are top-down pressures to universities, but also bottom-up initiatives that universities are engaged in lifelong learning programs. When we see different global actors actually developing the visions and different platforms and work with the countries to push lifelong learning development, actually we see that they have been working quite a lot on several levels. Like they have been supporting the national governments to initiate the national policy for lifelong learning delivery in different education levels. Then such influence has also been pushing universities to develop their strategies. It's not just important to have in our mission that we have to develop, to do something with contribution to industry and society, but also universities take a more systematic manner to put a specific strategies, how they are going actually to deliver the lifelong learning programs and how they are going to engage with external actors in provision of such programs. Then it is the diversity of the programs based on labor market demands and industrial needs and societal needs, and how universities can actually maintain updated programs to push the lifelong learning provision based on the demands. Then we talk about quality assurance, which is a strong focus and pressure that universities have to follow quality assurance measures and standard implementation in provision of lifelong learning programs. And that is also quite a lot connected, besides addressing the needs of the audience they serve, it is also a kind of recognition. So how they are going actually to provide a good recognition to different stakeholders in labor market about the delivery of their programs. And then the skills which are needed to address, as Professor Florim mentioned, in many cases, the needs for upgrade of skills. And also, what is the motivation, both of the providers of lifelong learning programs, but also participants? So how we can motivate industrial actors and societal groups to join different lifelong learning programs and actually benefit from the training. When we see this national, actually international and global focus working with the countries, actually a lot has been going on in the past decade about enhancing the legislation and policies at the national level. I know I've been engaged in some forums, more or less Southeast Europe forums, but also with European Commission to some European level agendas in pushing the 2020 skills strategy. And a lot of measures which European Commission and European Union was pushing both to member countries and acceding countries was that we have to have a good laws which guarantee that skills are addressed by different education programs and particularly by lifelong learning. And this legislation and policies also reference to an increased political commitment, because legislation are to be developed and implemented, then political commitment increases in different countries in order that they are channeling the delivery of lifelong learning in a good and standard quality way, but also as a push to provide for higher education institution an implementation and orientation framework for lifelong learning. And we have a lot of instruments, actually. We have the global SDGs. Now universities are more and more pushed in order to be assessed and evaluated about how they are actually implementing the SDGs on different levels. And we have the 2030 European agenda and also UN agenda, where the education and training is on the top of the agenda to provide and deliver in terms of skills and in terms of economic development. And there is the reference that in terms of recognition and in terms of we develop our training programs and send a message to the receivers of these services, as well as a recognition to the industrial actors, we have to be careful when we develop the different levels of ISCAD or EQF in order that we know what type of training programs are providing. And of course, there are a lot of instruments which are pushing universities globally in order to engage more on the delivery of lifelong learning programs. So I mentioned here the Erasmus Plus objectives, which they have a lot of funds, also in that sector, but also in higher education capacity building, in order to have more programs in lifelong learning and more collaboration with industry, and also collaboration between vocational education and training institutions and higher education institutions to provide joint lifelong learning programs, actually. And I've been engaged in some of this project development, particularly, as I mentioned before, designing and delivering micro-credentials. So we are about to start one of the projects this autumn with some of the European partners. Then, because lifelong learning is quite broad and different institutions and have their own experiences based on their university strategy, but also national requirements, the global practices pertaining the lifelong learning try to put in a sustainable way that universities deal in a longer term with lifelong learning, and that is the embedding it onto the mission of the universities. When we see the UNESCO study conducted last year, many of the universities in different regions have in place legislation and have defined in their mission the lifelong learning delivery. We see that universities have already a good experience globally in this regard, but it remains to discuss the different challenges that they have to implement lifelong learning policies. And this also is dealing with adoption of university strategies. But also, what is important is to dedicate specific university structures. So each of you can reflect whether you have a specific university structure which is dealing particularly with lifelong learning. In our institution, we have a business development office, which is a kind of bridge between the faculties and study programs of formal education and a kind of bridge with industrial actors in order to support both our institution and to make a connection and do assessments of the needs in the labor market about the different training opportunities that we might deliver. And different institutions have different structures actually dealing with lifelong learning. And another implication which was also reflected in a global survey was about how these programs are funded. Whether there is national funding which is allocated to universities to meet some targets of the lifelong learning delivery, whether it is based entirely onto the tuition-based delivery of the lifelong learning programs, or whether it is in terms of provision of services with collaborative agreements between different actors, or whether institutions or universities allocate their own funding to support such initiatives, or whether there is a combination of different sources. But this has been also raised as a challenge that universities deal with implementing and funding this type of initiatives. When we try to see, because one of the main issues that in order to implement the mission of the university strategy for lifelong learning is whether we actually are allocating structures and resources in terms of logistic infrastructure and human resources and financial resources to put implementation on the way among the universities. And when we see the survey with global universities throughout the different regions, it is that universities possess different structures to support lifelong learning for different purposes. Like, for example, they use it also for being into the connection with the society and labor market about what the universities are providing. This kind of PR job that they are doing in order to actually send the messages and the news what the university is delivering. It is about support that these units or structures provide to curriculum development with a connection to the assessment from the industrial actors. It is about the connection with the community and how these structures support universities to be more close to the community development and engagement. It is that these units also provide staff development for university academic and administrative staff in terms of also promoting the lifelong learning within universities. It's not just that universities do lifelong learning and deliver services for outsiders, but it is also that they promote their own university strategy in order to upgrade with the needed skills among their staff. And it is about also how that they make sure that the graduates' employability is higher and higher, and how they can support the study programs and faculties to upgrade the needed skills and competences which are required into the labor market. But it is also making a connection between the provision of training, but also research, because nowadays the second pillar of universities engaging in research, whether it is fundamental or it is applied research, is a top priority becoming everywhere. But the idea is that how we can combine actually training and research in one delivery, and what are the struggles that universities are finding to do this. Lifelong learning has been also being challenged a lot with quality assurance measures. because recognition, and I saw already the list of webinars already presented in Catalyst project. Recognition of qualifications was one of them, and either of formal education or non-formal education, but quality assurance, both on the internal level, but also external examination from validated bodies, it is very much important for lifelong learning programs. And I'm sure that you have your own experiences in your countries about dealing with the quality assurance bodies within the government or outside the government, certificating bodies about your programs taking a toll about the ensuring the external quality, but also different measures that you are undertaking within your institution to ensure that the development, implementation, and quality check is going on the right direction. And also by European guidelines, but also European qualifications framework and following documents, it is that lifelong learning programs are becoming more and more requirement for accreditation and validation. And in order to provide the recognition before we start to deliver or after we start to deliver, it depends on the different countries, we have to undergo accreditation and validation. In Kosovo, for example, it is mandatory that lifelong learning programs are delivered after they have received accreditation and validation from our National Qualifications Authority. Otherwise, our diplomas are not going to be recognized by the government, or is going to be also a challenge to recognition for the industrial actors. Then lifelong learning should provide certain certifications on different study programs and programs levels based on ISCAT or EQF, in order that it is a clear message to the trainee itself, but also industrial actors, about what type of lifelong learning the candidates have got. And this is also will facilitate the recognition in labor market in one side, but also as a recognition for prior learning. Today, we are facing more and more about recognition of prior learning, which is also one of the topics of this webinar and presentation, that how we make sure when we recruit candidates in both formal and informal training and education, we try to be open in terms of recognition of previous qualifications and how we can include them in different levels of education, also recognizing what they have been undergoing before. And not all institutions have clear programs, not all countries have clear programs. For example, in Kosovo, we are very much facing this recognition of prior learning. Maybe it's 2 or 3 years, which there is a secondary legislation put by the Ministry of Education, but implementation is very much challenging. Universities do not have a clear understanding about how they are going to implement this. We don't have internal mechanisms and structures to do this recognition, particularly, which is much more challenging if we try to open doors between formal and non-formal education. Because it's more clear that when we try to transfer studies within the formal education, but it's not really clear when we try to transfer skills and competences and different trainings from non-formal education to our formal education. And actually, maybe students and candidates have to go again this training within the formal education curricula, even they have done it before, but we don't have mechanisms, we don't have procedures how to recognize them. And I'm sure that we also see different study reports throughout Europe and globally that universities actually are challenging to put in place rules and regulations and structures to recognize prior learning, either it is coming for formal or informal education and training. Because quality assurance procedures are very much important to ensure that we are delivering good lifelong learning programs, when we see the practices from global universities, it is that they use quality assurance procedures to enhance the academic program qualities and to increase the perception of the trainees about the quality of their programs. Also, universities use the quality assurance procedures and system as a way to monitor their delivery of training, whether they are going on the right direction, whether the training units in the universities are delivering the programs as they have been certified by the external accreditation and validation bodies. But also they used it to monitor whether the skills and competencies are being developed among the trainees and whether that training staff is providing the expected work to the different programs. But also they use quality assurance procedures to monitor whether the learner has developed on the expected levels. So they apply different assessments, techniques, and procedures to make sure that the training are having an impact as they were designed for. But also to use as a instrument for evaluation on a broader level, for example, to see whether the relevance of the structure of the programs is meeting the expectations of the industrial actors and other actors who are actually utilizing these training programs. Since the quality assurance in lifelong learning has been a major concern and has been serving a major purpose to the recognition process of learning, it is something that we also provided some space to discuss today jointly, the different European practices for recognition of prior learning. We see that different countries globally have different processes and names to use the recognition of prior learning. For example, ETF uses the term of validation of non-formal or informal learning. So European training foundations are massively dealing with vocational education training and lifelong learning policies and practices, and they put the emphasis on the validation, and that's why we have to go under accreditation and validation of study programs in lifelong learning before we start to implement them and to deliver them. Then we have in UK, for example, they call it assessment of prior experiential learning, but it is also has to do with some level of understanding what was delivered on what level, with what content, and for what skills. Then in Netherlands, but also UK, it is another term which is used, assessment of prior learning. Like in Canada, for example, is used prior learning assessment and recognition. So it's not just to assess what the candidate has been undergoing and has been certified, but what are the recognition procedures and how we can recognize and embed these qualifications and skills into something, either in the job application or to follow up training. And for example, into the terminology of European Commission in different programs and directives, they use recognition of learning outcomes as a message that we want to see if someone attended a training in lifelong learning, what have been the learning outcomes delivered and the skills and competences that the candidate has got from this training. But we see a lot of similarities about different global practices and European practices. And now more and more we have a joint terminology, which is RPL, or recognition of prior learning. And as I mentioned before, we are quite a lot struggling, some institutions more and some less, about putting up procedures and regulations and practice in our institutions for the recognition of prior learning. We have to see if we engage into the implications if we engage into the practices of recognition of prior learning, what universities have been mainly dealing with. First, universities have tried to understand whether these delivered trainings has been undergone any process of quality assurance. Have they been certified from a certification body or accredited body? This is one thing to check. Second is, to what level of ISCAD or EQF has this program been awarded, in order that we try to see how we can recognize it and use it either in the job place, either in follow-up education and training. Then whether the qualification and training has issued any credits. Can we use any credits? And as we know, credits tell about the length of the training, tell about the content implications, and tell about a kind of system that we can transfer from one program to another program. Whether the program has a clear certification and what the certification is telling to the team or structure which is dealing with recognition of prior learning, and what validation tools and instruments we are using in order to recognize the prior learning. So these are some of the key issues which universities have been facing, but also using to address the recognition of prior learning. And when we talk about the validation tools and instruments, actually, we have a report from the CDFO from the last year, which has combined a huge list of different tools and instruments that universities and training institutions have used to possible consider recognition of prior learning. And they come from, for example, self-assessments of the candidates, whether they have to provide a report about the training and qualification that they have received, and how this is actually suiting either to the job placement, employment, either to follow-up of training and education. Then universities use different testing forms, like multiple choice, open-ended, closed-ended forms, to be able to examine the knowledge, skills, and competences that the candidates have gone through training. There are also different written tests and essays that they are using. Several universities also use interviews and different forms of discussions in order to examine what type of programs candidates have gone through and what was the training delivery done by the training provider, and what knowledge and skills the candidate has received from this training. Then, based on different study programs, universities also do simulation and controlled job practice. For example, they try to see what the trainees can do with this type of training that they got, and whether they have got qualifications as per the expectations to the university, either to get next level of training education or either to employ them and to put into practice. Then some universities also use the portfolio of evidence. So they try to collect evidence about the training or education attended in terms of certificates, in terms of program content, in terms of learning outcomes, in terms of assessments, but also the equipment that has been used and methodologies that have been used as a part of training that the candidate is undergoing. And also some universities use other additional evidence, like whether this training has been somewhere certified, whether it is the certification registered in some national or international databases, whether the institution is registered there, whether the program is registered there, and so on. And I'm sure that you all use different, most probably, tools and instruments in your practice to recognize the prior learning, either for study purpose, for training purpose, or for employment purpose. I'm sure that we can open some discussion also about this topic at the end of the presentation, just to reflect on your own practices. Because lifelong learning serves all. It serves universities, it serves industries, it serves labor market, it serves individuals. It serves governmental purposes, so we have also a diversity of stakeholders engaged in different levels in lifelong learning. And of course, when we provide lifelong learning, at the end of the day, we have the final beneficiaries, which are individuals, which are subject of training onto the different training programs. But as I said before, universities might want to design and deliver training programs to different target groups. For example, in one project that we got from Erasmus Plus to provide the micro-credentials, we are trying to provide some training capacities to the service providers of social services dealing with migrants. And what type of skills and knowledge the service providers need in order to provide services to different migration groups. And in Kosovo, for example, and in Albania, because this is a Western Balkan project, we are the country destination for migration, but also we are a country of returned migrants. And we are a country also the migration circulation. So we have to prepare our service providers to deal with different type of community needs, like to provide services to prevent migration, to provide services to deal with the returned migrants, and to provide services for people who are moving, going and coming from different countries. And this is that we have to make an assessment of what type of specific needs could be from different industrial and social actors to deliver the training programs. And it is about involving education and training institutions, particularly if we try to provide joint. There are a lot of practices, and I'm sure that you have been also exploring in the CATALISI project to undertake joint initiatives in order to provide training programs. We had a few, as the IBCM College, we have a few initiatives with European partners like Denmark, Lithuania, and Italy actually providing joint degrees and training opportunities. But also what could be the national stakeholders, both public and non-public, in order to get into the communication coordination when we provide lifelong learning programs. And when I say this, it is that we adhere to certain legislation and policies and accreditation standards, but also to the requirements of the employment organizations. But also, as I said before, because our universities have an impact into our societies, which we provide services for, we align to some of the European or international agenda implementation, as I said before, to the SDGs. Then I particularly chose actually top-up programs and micro-credentials as good practices, maybe, that universities can use more to boost the lifelong learning programs delivery. And top-up programs, mainly the European practice is between level 5 and 6 of EQF. It is that we deliver 1 or 2 years formal education, which could be also non-formal education, for the students and candidates, where they can get some basic skills and full skills on different study programs. And then they can go and work for some time, get a labor market experience, and they can get back to top up and to the bachelor level. For example, in IBCM, we provide 2 years of level 5, which is 120 credits, ECTS credits that they got. After that, they get a certificate of level 5, And some of the students already go to the labor market. Some of them, they just start in the level 6. But we have many cases where students made the pause, went for gaining job experience, and then they got back to attend 3 more semesters in order to get to the bachelor degree. And we are trying to see also possible practices, also combining level 6 and level 7, which is a bit more challenging because we don't have much established practice, as we know. But top-up programs, both in formal and non-formal education, the good practices in order to provide longer and shorter training possibilities are encouraged to be provided in a modular approach, which means that if students have to go and candidates have to go 2 years of studies, either in master or in level 5, maybe they attend let's say 4-6 modules, and each modules have its own learning outcomes, and each modules will provide a final certificate, which means that students can attend only one module and get some certificate, or they can attend all modules and get a degree. So the flexibility of provision of programs, education and training, could be that they can provide it in a kind of formal way or non-formal way or combined. And modular approach provides this opportunity to deliver such. Then we have a lot of programs and universities in Europe, particularly the University of Applied Sciences, which provide dual programs, a combination of learning in school-based and industry-based. So students spend some time in learning about theoretical learning in schools, but get also some practical and work-based experience in industry actors. But also we talk about circulating between education, learning, and industry, as I said before, where student can finish one level, go and come back and top up with another level. So top-up programs actually makes a lot of flexibility, and some of the universities which are applying in their strategy have much opportunities to promote and implement lifelong learning. Another way, which is much more emerging in the last 5-6 years, I would say, it is the introduction of micro-credentials. I'm not sure that some of you have already experience with the micro-credentials, but this is becoming a clear concept now, both with international organizations for education like UNESCO, but also European organizations like European Commission and ETF and CDFO, which are providing different frameworks for promoting micro-credentials. But what are these micro-credentials and how they are distinct into the lifelong learning program diversity? And according to UNESCO, we have a definition of micro-credentials as a new and more flexible way of recognizing knowledge, skills, and competencies. What does this mean, actually? So micro-credentials are not straightforward frameworks, but are tools and type of training which can be embedded into the degrees, diplomas, certificates, or licenses. So they can be connected to different larger training programs, but they have to be awarded by an accredited and recognized educational training institution, which means that even institutions which provide micro-credential training, they have to go a thorough quality assurance check and control in order to get these programs in place and to get recognition. And they can be offered both by commercial entities, which can be providers of training, but also formal education, and also community organizations which serve the purpose and services to different type of communities. Actually, according to the international framework, the provision of micro-credentials is quite broad, and that they can be delivered by any provider which undergoes, as I said before, a good quality assurance check. What is more concretely a micro-credential, I would say? It is a record of focused learning achievement, which tells that the learner knows and understands or can do, which means that they can be very much designed to very skill-based, competence-based, but also follow up with some level of knowledge. It depends on the aim and purpose of the micro-credential delivered. It has to include some assessment and standards for assessment in order to check whether the aimed skills and competencies has been delivered. And it has to show that the provider is satisfied and is motivated to attend such micro-credential training programs. It should have a standalone value, which is connected to micro-credentials or sometimes macro-credentials, which are larger programs. But they have to provide enough information which can also serve the recognition of prior learning. Whether this type of training should be embedded in a larger training program in the future, or can be dedicated to specific work assignments, the certificates of micro-credential training should provide a lot of information which informs the future stakeholders about their content and delivery. It should meet the standards required by relevant quality assurance, most probably. And in many of the cases, they are offered as modules. As I said before, the modular approach, which can have a certain length of time, can be dedicated also to micro-credentials. There are different standards and also European practices which also are issuing digital badges. Actually, digital badge is a type of tool which can be issued and can be followed online by anybody which wants to understand more about the training program that the candidate went, and can be easily checked by anybody. The minimum requirement to issue a micro-credential according to the European Commission is that the mandatory element that should have a micro-credential program is that they have to identify the learning. So for which groups the micro-credential training development has been designed. It should have a title, a topic, which the micro-credential focuses. It should be a country and region where the micro-credential is developed and issued. Who is the awarding body, whether it has gone a quality assurance check and accreditation. So who has been doing this? When was the date of issue? What are the learning outcomes aimed by this micro-credential training program? What is the national workload and transfer of credits which has been designed? I'm sure that all VET providers and lifelong providers in different countries have similar practice. I'm talking about European practice, because the referencing of European qualification framework into the national qualification framework requires also adjustments of the number of credits per lifelong learning programs, as well as for the number of hours which one ECTS in lifelong learning should have. What has been type of assessments actually undertaken for the micro-credential program, and other possible information which could be additional provided for the delivery of the micro-credentials. Actually, as we see, it is a quite recent concept, but already we have standards in place in order to both design it, but also facilitate the recognition process from the different users and providers. I think I've come to an end of my presentation about this. This is the list of references which I have based my presentation, which you can find it. Thank you very much, and I'm very open and pleased to follow further discussion on this topic.
Thank you. Thank you very much for your presentation. There's so many things, to think about, because it was, a collection of so many information. So I think that even if people maybe have some question, they still have to think about where to start.